the relationship that we had with the people. It was very close. We immersed ourselves in the community. We were available. We dined out. We had beers out. We went to the schools. We went to the hospitals. We helped the kids, and I think we got the respect of the people because of it, even though we were younger. And the city really got to know the players because we shared our lives with them in a way, not only on the ice but off the ice.
They're part of it. They're part of the product, the total package. And, that's what it is. It's it's the players. It's the we're meeting office staff from back in those times, and we know where their hearts are.
I always tell people I was their adopted son, and Mark was the son of Edmonton because he was from here, and I was just always treated with respect, and people were always great to me. It's a wonderful place, and I watch the Oilers play. I always wish nothing but the best for not only the Oilers but for the city of Edmonton.
We're part of the community, and we still are part of the community. And I think anyone that can go back and remember, we were involved with the town and the city, and everybody that it was part of us, a part of the Oilers, and remember how involved we were with the community.
On October 10th, 2014, the Edmonton Oilers hosted a 30th anniversary reunion of the 1984 Stanley Cup team. It was a magical evening of storytelling, music, and memories in front of a sold-out crowd of Oilers faithful. The Oilers have always been the people's team, and the whole city played a role in making us champions. The 30th anniversary of our first Stanley Cup is something we'll never forget, as the whole city once again came together and celebrated. It was important for the Oilers organization to chronicle the reunion, but this is really about saying thank you to our fans for always being there, both 30 years ago and today. Thank you, Edmonton, from Wayne, Mark, everyone on the team, from Daryl Cates, from all the Oilers. Please enjoy these special moments and reflections from the 1984 Edmonton Oilers.
My dad died the summer before I came to the Oilers to play in the NHL. My mom a few years before that. So when I came to Edmonton, the guys were, of course, my friends, but they really became like family. This whole organization was like family. And then over the years, you meet so many people in Northern Alberta, and they treated me like family. So when you have success, who are the first people you want to share your success with? Friends and family. There you go. I meet new friends and family like every day, it seems like.
About a year ago, I started thinking about it, and I just really felt it was such a unique team, and it was such a great time. For years it was sort of Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal were part of the National Hockey League, and we were in the WHA, and then when we stepped forward and came into the NHL, and for us to win a Stanley Cup within 5 years was actually really cool. And kind of sitting around one day, I kind of said, June is going to be 30-year anniversary. Early October would be really cool. We can all have a lot of fun. There's guys that we haven't seen in a long time that get together, and just as importantly, I thought it would be something really cool for the city of Edmonton A charity could be very profitable from the night or the weekend that we have together.
My first thought was it's 30 years ago. That's a long time. I can't believe it's been that long. But I got excited, really. You know, I haven't seen some of these guys for 30 years. But they all have to be in their 50s now.
Oh no, don't say that. Excited. I mean, I have friends here. We still keep in touch, and I've been just dying to see them and the players, and it's amazing. A lot of great memories here.
Always nice to be back. No question about this. It's my second home for sure, and always brings a lot of good memories. You know. Definitely, it's a long way. We traveled for 24 hours almost now. So.
And we're really old. 30 years, huh? That's hard to believe. That's the part that really got my attention. No, they were wrong. That's a misprint. 30 years.
Everything was kind of fun, and everything was new, and everybody had a great time. They were so close, and I really liked that. There weren't very many wives back then, so the wives were really close. It was fun. We had a good time.
I remember the between the first and second rounds of playoffs, I took you to the hospital and I went to practice.
Yes.
And I was a little embarrassed to ask the coach at the time, Glenn Sather and John Muckler, could I leave practice early? And they go, well, what do you got to leave early for? He says, well, Carla's in labor. She's having a baby. Was it St. Paul's?
It was at St. Paul's.
At St. Paul's.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, you can go a little early.
So he did get to see
I
the
made
second
it.
one.
I
You
made
did.
it.
He made
Yeah.
it. Yeah, you did.
Exciting to be back. Well, I've seen the comments in the paper. I think they all wished I'd stayed home. Just to see the players. A lot of emotional times. I mean, we were a family, all of us, and very, very special times.
Well, you know, getting together with the guys, my whole family's coming, so we're happy to be here, and you know, actually spending enough time with each guy that you know that it would take to reconnect.
Looking at some old pictures, and there was an all-star game in Hartford, and I believe there was 9 of us. You got Fogelin in the pitch, you had Kevin Lowe, you had Koff, you had Gretz, you had Mess, you had Curry. You didn't realize how good your team was until you look at pictures like that and go, wow, I cannot believe that we had an actual all-star team.
To see all the guys again is fantastic. Great that we're all still above ground. And everybody looks really healthy.
Hoping that Gretz can remember his stories, because he tells them so many times that he leaves some details out. So, but he's got he's smart as a whip, and he remembers a lot. So if there's someone that's going to tell a good story and remember exactly how it went down, it'll be him.
We're talking about it the night before, laying in bed on the eve of Game 5, thinking, wow, we have a chance to win the Stanley Cup. Now we're on the bench the next day saying, wow, we are going to win the Stanley Cup. You know, that was a completely different feeling, and one none of us will ever forget, whether you're a player or a fan.
The biggest thing I remember was after the second period of the final game, we were winning 4-0, and Glenn Sather saying, you know, you have one more good period, and you guys are going to remember this for life. And this is a moment in time that you guys will never forget. And here we are 30 years later, and it's exactly what he said, that we weren't going to forget what happened. And it feels like it was yesterday. We're all a little bigger, we're all a little slower, we're all obviously older. But the memory of winning that cup seems like it was yesterday, and that'll never go away.
There was part of you that couldn't help but allow you to think about what if. You know, what if tonight's the night, and what's it going to feel like, and all those things.
Wow, to this day, you know, you get shivers when you think about it. Being on the ice and watching the clock count down and realize that you're a Stanley Cup champion, pretty incredible memory.
Edmonton Oilers. By name, the Oilers have won the Stanley Cup.
We got roughed up a few times that season. We went through some, which was unusual for us. We endured some injuries, which we hadn't experienced before as a young Oiler team. So we endured some injuries. We got roughed up. It wasn't a smooth sail all the way through, and some of those tough spots, some of those adversities probably made us a little tougher.
Beating the Islanders in that series, and a lot of people have forgotten that going into that final series in 1984, the Oilers had lost 10 straight games to the New York Islanders, and there wasn't anybody in the country thought the Oilers had a chance to win the Stanley Cup. And Kevin McClellan scored that big goal in Game 1 in Long Island, and then the Oilers lost the second one, and they came back here and won 3 straight, and the rest is history.
And there was a hatred there, obviously, between the Islanders and the Oilers, but we had such a respect factor for their team and their coach and guys like Trottier and Bossy and Potvin and Smith. And we took that and we ran with it. It seemed like the longest year we ever had as an Oiler, because all we wanted to do was play that finals again.
Even Stanley Cup, because it's for me, the time when I be young is world champions most than Stanley Cup, because I don't know nothing about Stanley Cup. When I play in communist country, no Stanley Cup, there no information about NHL. You know, it's a long time nobody play with Canada, you know.
What I remember was the workmanlike approach to the entire season from day one to try to win a cup. And you mentioned, you know, the 100-point guys and all the records that would be broken. And it all just seemed like, yeah, no big deal. That is just galvanizing for a team, a group of guys that, hey, those are still milestones that exist today, records that some of them exist today, and that it didn't, you know, that none of that mattered, and that was a really unselfish kind of approach to a season by some great players.
I think every year that we played as an Oiler team, we learned from our losses, and I think that's why we became such a dynasty and such a great team, is because of the fact that whenever we lost, we never lost the lesson. As the old proverb goes, you always learn how to win, and I think that's exactly what happened with the Oilers. And we were fortunate enough that we beat the Islanders from winning 5 straight and winning our first cup in 1984.
When Wayne Gretzky would come off the ice for the shift, he'd always sit at the end of the bench by the gate, so that if the other team took a penalty and all of a sudden we had a power play, he might have been on the bench for 5 seconds. He would stand up and rattle the gate and look at Slats. Slats, okay, Gretz, away you go, you're on. I did the same thing. When they had pulled their goalie and there's a face-off, I stood up, rattled the gate, and looked at Sailors. All right, Lummer, you're out there. You know, that puck came to me, and it's one of those things you've done a million times since you were a little kid. You know, from the other end of the ice, you just turn, you know, you try and hit the net. I just aimed in the general direction and knew there was always that little left to right spin, and man, if it didn't go right in the middle.
Empty net at the end of a clinching game goal that I can remember. Dead center. And now the Edmonton play.
When you're on the bench, you're trying to preserve a lead in the final winning moments of a game. You're not thinking about much. You know, you're really so focused in on what you're trying to do. And but when Lummer scored that empty net goal, we're finally able to exhale and realize that a dream come true was about to unfold. That, wow, we're going to win this Stanley Cup.
But if you look at the face-off after they all cleared the ice, Mark Messier was at center, and the puck goes down to the Islanders' end. If you ever get a chance to see it again, watch Mess. He's kind of in the slot in the other team's zone, and as the clock's going down, he's swinging his arms like this, and his stick goes up, way up in the air, and he's looking up at his family up in the corner. It was classic. His stick went like 50 feet in the air. It was great.
I just couldn't believe how much that meant for those players. You know, I know that winning champions is always big, you know, we all know that, but how much that meant for the players, I couldn't see them react. And plus then you add the fans, you add the city. It was like a big family celebrating together, you know, and have that feeling. That was, we can't even imagine what was it, you know. And I tried to pass around to somebody to explain what was the win. I say, just can't explain, you have to feel it.
I remember in the dressing room, the spraying the champagne everywhere, and that's what it was all about. I mean, any player that plays today is, I mean, that's the goal, win the Stanley Cup.
You know, Glenn Sager, when I went to Stanley Cup, tell me, takes with Stanley Cup to Czech Republic, but in communists say, no, we don't know the Stanley Cup here. You win, this is your problem, you know. Instead of now everybody brings Stanley Cup, everybody's happy about that.
It was such a relief and such a feeling of satisfaction to do it with those guys that you'd gone to war with for so many years. And as far, I love those guys to death. They're all just great.
The city we have and we had incredible fans. Great history, hockey history here. I think for a lot of people that grew up in the city or were living in the city in those days, it was a real sense of satisfaction as a community, not just the hockey team that happened to be in the city. It's like, this is really big for Edmonton. And, again, for those people that had lived here all their lives and knew about the history of hockey, a lot of great players came from here. But, unless you're an NHL city, Montreal, Toronto, it seemed the NHL didn't exist in this country, say for those two cities. And at that very moment, it was like, NHL and the Stanley Cup exists in cities other than Toronto and Montreal.
I think the biggest thing for myself is I was a little bit older than a lot of the guys here, 4 or 5 years older, and how humble everybody was, and what a great dressing room we had, right from Wayne to everybody. We're different ages and different likes and dislikes, but when we came to the dressing room, we were like brothers, and there was no criticism or anything amongst us. We just enjoyed playing with each other.
How everybody were such good guys. Everybody really, was pulled along for the team, and you're only as good as your weakest link, is kind of a saying everybody says, and if everybody's not pulling right down to your trainers together, it's a fine line between winning and losing.
The game seems, like I said, it seems slower, but it wasn't. It was, to us, it was pretty fast. Just of playing, and just the guys. I've never been on a team that wanted to win so badly, and that's what brings back.
The biggest thing I miss is just the emotion. Not all good, the highs and the lows, and nothing provides you what sports does is the highs and lows, and that's probably the biggest thing that I miss.
They need the big door for you.
I always like this place. Well, I imagine the new building's going to be something else, so.
It's always good to be home.
Push-ups? Oh, get Wayner to come show him one? Right?
No, he's like, hey guys. He was like waiting in the pocket, listening, like, and go. Looking at us, telling us to go, and we're all just like,
gave regrets the culture.
Yeah. I swear to God.
Completely different.
Where would it be?
Definitely was. The old one wasn't there, I think. This is the new one. Nice.
Yeah, I never finished high school, so this is my first actual reunion. So it's great to be here.
If you watch that last game, you'll see Slats on the bench, and you can read his lips, and he just says, relax. Just keep playing, and that's what we kept doing. We had 2 forecheckers, 1 guy high, and we played the way we did, and I'm not sure what I'm going on about here, but Gretz called, we're here, and it's going to be a great time. Thanks. Well, it only took a few games before everybody knew who Charlie was. I mean, he was a perfect complemented guy for me. He was loose. Believe it or not, he used to sing to me when I'd carry the puck around the net. He used to go, "You can dance if you want to," as I'm wheeling up the ice. But we had a lot of fun. Charlie was a perfect fit for me, and thank you for putting him with me, Glenn.
Once we walked through that threshold of the door, they were your brothers, they were your family, you all became one. All the individual stuff that was outside, any outside noise, all went away, and everything was so special in that room, and that's what made this group so great.
Where's that crown hat they had on?
Yeah, we'll do that.
No, it was the Pope's hat.
Pope. It was Pope's hat.
No, the Pope's hat.
Don't move too much. Don't move too much.
Took it.
Wayne?
Put that black
That's
down
it.
on the ground. Where is he?
Yeah, that's bloody added.
You got to be wearing that crown there, Gretz.
You got a king hat here.
That is, yeah, wear it. Come on. That's great.
Great. All right, here we go. Straight here.
We're going to raise Hunch's jersey to the reference tomorrow.
Got 2 cranes for that one.
We got to bring in a crane.
Oh, we got more. Hold on.
There's a lot of different emotions, of course, especially, from, coming and preparing for a game, being in practice, things going well, things going tough, and things that are said to each other and rituals, before the game. And I remember Mark used to always tap me on the pads and tell me to be tough, and, that used to inspire me. And so little things like that, McClellan, I sat next to McClellan on and whenever he, got into with somebody, he said, "How'd I do, Jackie? How'd I do?" And, one time I made a joke and said, "Oh, you didn't do that well." Oh, that devastated him, but he always did really well. So I said, "I'm never going to do that again."
You know what's nice? It's nice when the current guys remember the guys that played before them. I mean, I'm a big historian of the game, and I respect the guys that played before me for sure. And it's nice to see that the guys here are like that. And that's a credit to ownership and management that they keep the guys in mind that were before them. And I got a picture with Everly and Nugent Hopkins, and it was a big thrill. And I sent it to my kid, and he came back with one word: sweet. It's great, right?
Totally different these days. Been there. Awesome. It feels so good. It's like putting on a pair of shoes. I'd rather wear these than my shoes.
How you doing?
Hey, good to see you.
Hendricks. How are you, buddy?
Good to see you.
How you doing?
Everything's good. Yeah? Yeah, awesome.
Putting on some new wheels?
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah.
So we're overdue. So.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah, thanks. Good seeing you too.
Sure.
What?
How you doing, Joey? Looking good.
Hi, Joey. Bruce. How are you, Joey? Nice to see you.
Ramo.
I'm Ramo. Hi, Joey.
Moogie Moogie.
Hi, Joe. Nice to see you.
Patty Croniker.
Joey, good to see you. How's things?
Things are going good. Did you go and say hi to Mr. Sather?
So,
Joe, if a guy had 100 games, 105, the guy with 100 games got the medal.
Well, it was seniority. I mean, how else could you do it?
The sophistication of where the game is now, the drills they were doing and the tempo and the size of the players. We played in our era, and that was great, and it's something we'll never forget. But seeing these young, enthusiastic faces, kind of thinking, wow, these guys are just starting off, and they're a young team, and wish them the very best, that's for sure.
Straight this way, fellas. Everybody straight here. Straight here, guys. Go ahead, drop those pucks.
Good, how are you?
Nice.
Their boys wanted to say hello. Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks very much.
Okay, guys.
Okay, that's out.
You know, we were kids when we turned pro in 79, 80. I mean, we were, looking back at it, you think, okay, at 20 years old, you know everything, and you really don't. And myself and Mess and Paul and Grant Fuhr. But the one thing that we had as a group, we really took it to heart. Glenn used to always tell us, you know, you guys have to give back, and you guys have to do things that other 19-year-olds maybe don't do, because you guys are in a good position. And so we learned at a young age, each and every guy who was involved some way, somehow in the charitable aspect of Edmonton. And we all helped each other. So whether it was my charity or Mark's charity or Anderson's charity, we all kind of piggybacked each other, and everyone benefited. And so when we were doing this, it was just a natural fit that, you know, all the guys were so good at doing things for less fortunate people that this made so much sense, that we could all have a great time, that people could get a chance to sort of be around us, and yet we can all raise a lot of money for a great charity and a great cause.
Anytime you can do something for a kids charity, it's fabulous. And the Stollery is probably one of the best kids hospitals anywhere in the world. So I think the fact that we can do something for that makes it really special.
One thing about the Oilers, and at that time period, we were part of the city. Like, didn't matter where we went, whether it was schools or hospitals or restaurants and bars. Every player was open, and there were individuals that walked into the building, walked into the hospital. We were there for them, and they were there for us. Maybe a cliche, but we were a team of the people, because the people, we were open to the people.
All of the Oilers were involved. They were all terrific. They were all good with the kids. And it was an 8 or 9 hour day for these players to be at the arena. They'd be in dunk tanks. And they learned what it meant to be part of the charity system at that time. And I think the girls gave money out to like 30 or 40 different charities in the city. And the players got a chance to see the effect that it had on people that didn't have the kind of money that they needed to have to buy clothes or food. And that's where this whole thing got started. And the players learned from that. These guys are terrific. They'll do anything for charities. And I certainly enjoy it. I enjoy, you know, watching these kids that look at somebody like Mark or Wayne today, or Paul Coffey, and their eyes light up and they have a big smile, and it seems to change their attitude, which is, at that stage, that's probably all you can do.
You gotta give him a name.
You do? Do you want his jersey?
I know a good name for him.
Mark.
No. Moose. Let's name him Moose.
Okay.
Okay?
Name of Moose.
You want me to sign it?
Are you gonna sign a Moose?
To Moose. With love, Mark. Okay?
Not a bad team.
Okay, we'll stop about 20 feet out. I'll hold it and I'll pass it to you, and you pass all the way down, and we'll stay right there, and then we'll start walking.
Oh, we gotta keep walking slowly so everybody can see.
Right. But I'm gonna stop and then pass it to you, and then when you pass it, we'll start walking. Go!
Very fun.
Show was awesome.
How do you get 17,000 people just to come and hang out? It was pretty special. Pretty cool.
How was that? It was excellent.
It was awesome.
Really good. A lot of fun. Hope they do it again.
Yeah. I got it. Okay.
Ready?
In the box.
Fine.
Ready?
Hands of a 50-goal scorer.
Hey, it looks good. It looks good.
Awesome. Outstanding. Wasn't that outstanding?
It's always fun. Great city for it too.
No ABBA? Gretz wants ABBA in the room. Gretz always wants ABBA in the room. No ABBA?
Oh, good. Yeah, it was good. It was a lot of fun. Lots of guys I haven't seen for a long time, so it was good to chat with the guys for a little bit and hope to do a little bit more when we're done here.
Yeah, I think a lot of us saw it for 30 years is a long time, and we knew he did some special things back then, but this really brought back some emotions. It's not easy to win a Stanley Cup, and we did it all together, so we're pretty happy.
Bring the cup here. Thank you.
Well, I've seen the comments in the paper. I think they all wished I'd stayed home. Thank you, Edmonton. Thank you.
You know, the older we get, the more we appreciate just life in general, friendships and accomplishments, and fun to celebrate with, members. None of my kids were around when that happened, and don't really have a sense of, how important that team was and that accomplished what was to the city and to the people.
When you think about it, 30 years is a long time, but it went by really quickly.
It meant a lot to a lot of people. It meant a lot to us as individuals and as hockey players, but it also meant a lot to this community and to this country.
People always ask me, what's the thing you miss about the game? The biggest thing I miss is just the emotion. Not all good, the highs and the lows, and nothing provides you what sports does is the highs and lows, and that's probably the biggest thing that I miss.
Things that I've held important over these 30 years is
is probably the relationships that I developed during those early years.
Kind of joked around that this is something we're going to remember forever. And it's kind of, you know, you can't take away that history, you can't take away our memories. And here we are 30 years later, and we're having as much fun now as we had back then when we actually won the first Stanley Cup.
You know, it's very nice, but it's tough when it come guys to get together. You know, it's change, everything changed. Somebody is fat like me, somebody nice, different, but everybody changed. I look at McTavish, is McTavish or not McTavish, or you know, it's terrible. I meet only Don Jackson in Europe because he work in Germany. Then Don Jackson, okay, it is fast same, you know, but so many different, you know. Kevin McClellan, you know. No hair now, you know, before you have big hair, play.
Wow, massive. Seriously, get a bed. Oh, 91.
I can't, to tell you the truth, maybe a little disappointment because it's over, but I'm so darn happy. But I want to share this with you a little bit.
Yeah, well, thanks very much, Doc.
Thank you.
Just what I really needed. Glenn Anderson.
We got natural now. We're on TV.
Don't do it too natural.
That's hard to do that all the time.
No.